The entertainment world was shaken by heartbreaking news when reports claimed that legendary actress Diane Keaton had passed away at the age of 79. Fans across the globe were left in disbelief. Known for her charm, humor, and one-of-a-kind personality, Diane had left an unforgettable mark on Hollywood. But what truly captured everyone's attention were her emotional final words about her long and complicated love story with actor Al Pacino. Their connection had started more than 5 decades ago, back when both were rising stars trying to find their place in the film industry. What began as professional respect quickly turned into a love story that lasted for years. One filled with passion, heartbreak, and deep affection that never completely faded. Even in her final reflections, Diane spoke about Pacino with honesty, love, and sadness. She revealed that despite their strong emotional bond, their relationship ended because Al was never ready to take the next step: marriage. Her words opened an old wound in Hollywood's history, reminding everyone that sometimes the most powerful love stories don't have a perfect ending. Her honesty left fans deeply moved, showing that even icons experience heartbreak and unfulfilled dreams. Diane Keaton's love story with Al Pacino began in 1971 during the casting of The Godfather. Diane, then a young actress trying to prove herself, was cast as Kay Adams, the gentle yet strong woman who would fall in love with Michael Corleone, a role played by the intense and mysterious Al Pacino. Their chemistry was immediate, both on and off screen. Diane once said that the first time she saw Pacino, she thought he was unlike anyone she had ever met. Brilliant, unpredictable, and full of life. During the long filming days, they would talk for hours between takes, laughing about small things and dreaming about the future. Diane admired his dedication and raw passion for acting, while Al found her charm, wit, and emotional depth irresistible. What started as quiet admiration slowly turned into something more personal. Yet, in those early years, their love was still hidden. Both of them were too focused on their careers to make it public. It wasn't until the filming of The Godfather Part 2 in 1974 that their connection grew deeper, transforming from friendship into a serious relationship that would define a large part of their lives. Unlike most celebrity couples, Diane and Al chose to keep their romance private. They avoided red carpet appearances and media attention, preferring quiet dinners, long walks, and deep conversations. Their relationship was built on mutual respect and artistic understanding. Diane often described Al as a genius wrapped in mystery, while he admired her intelligence and independent spirit. They found comfort in each other's company, two artists trying to balance love and ambition. Diane's California apartment became their safe space, filled with laughter, shared dreams, and moments of silence that only true partners understand. Yet, even during the happiest times, there were shadows. Diane wanted stability, a family, children, a home filled with warmth. Al, on the other hand, was afraid of commitment. He once told her he didn't know how to be a husband, that he was too restless and unpredictable for marriage. That difference became the silent wall between them. Despite their love, Diane began to realize that she might never get the kind of life she secretly wished for with him. Still, she stayed, hoping one day he might change his mind. But as time passed, that hope slowly began to fade. By the late 1980s, their relationship had gone through countless ups and downs. Diane was at the peak of her career, celebrated for films like Annie Hall and Baby Boom, while Pacino was one of the most respected actors in the world. Yet behind the success, Diane was quietly suffering. She had waited years for Al to propose, but the moment never came. She even stood by him during his financial and personal troubles, lending him support and encouragement when his career hit rough patches. She believed that their love could overcome anything, but Al's fear of commitment never disappeared. One evening, after years of waiting, Diane decided to confront the truth. She looked him in the eyes and told him that unless they married, she could no longer continue. His silence was all the answer she needed. Diane walked away, heartbroken but strong enough to accept reality. Their breakup wasn't filled with anger or drama, only quiet sadness. In interviews later, Diane admitted that she loved him deeply, but she could not spend her life waiting for something that would never happen. It was the end of a love story that had defined both of them for nearly 15 years. After leaving Al Pacino, Diane Keaton decided to focus on herself. She never married but created a loving family in her own way by adopting 2 children, Dexter and Duke. Motherhood changed her life completely. It gave her joy, purpose, and balance that she had not found even in her most successful acting years. Diane often said that being a mother helped her understand love differently, not as something to be earned, but something to give freely. While she moved on, she never stopped caring for Al. In interviews, She spoke of him with affection and respect, calling him a man unlike any other. She kept a small photo of him in her home and would sometimes glance at it with a smile, remembering their laughter and the bond that once seemed unbreakable. Her life became an example of how a person can experience heartbreak yet still find beauty and peace afterward. Diane chose to celebrate love instead of regretting it, showing the world that strength doesn't come from avoiding pain, but from surviving it with grace. To understand Diane Keaton's resilience, one must look at her beginnings. Born Diane Hall on January 5, 1946 in Los Angeles, she grew up in a modest household where money was often tight, but creativity was abundant. Her mother, Dorothy, was a former beauty queen who recorded every part of Diane's life in dozens of journals. Her father, Jack, was a construction engineer who struggled silently with unfulfilled dreams. Diane later shared that her father's regrets motivated her to live boldly and never settle for less than what she believed in. As a child, she learned to turn hardship into creativity. Her mother would buy secondhand clothes and transform them into unique outfits, a habit that later shaped Diane's iconic fashion sense. These early experiences taught her independence and imagination, qualities that became her trademarks both on-screen and off. Even when the world doubted her, Diane's inner fire kept pushing her forward. This determination would later help her recover from heartbreak, professional challenges, and even serious health issues. Her childhood didn't just shape her, it prepared her for the complex, extraordinary life she would eventually lead. Diane's career began on stage in the late 1960s when she appeared in the Broadway musical Hair. But her big break came when she met Woody Allen, who cast her in the play Play It Again, Sam. Their chemistry led to both a brief romance and a lasting creative partnership. Allen saw in Diane something unique, a natural mix of humor, honesty, and vulnerability. And together, they created timeless classics. Her performance in Annie Hall in 1977 made her an icon and won her the Academy Award for Best Actress. At the same time, her distinctive style, the loose suits, hats, and ties, became a fashion phenomenon. But behind the confidence, Diane struggled with personal insecurities. During her early career, she faced pressure to stay thin and even battled an eating disorder that lasted for several years. It was a secret pain she carried while trying to appear strong and successful. Yet, as always, Diane turned her challenges into growth. She sought therapy, recovered, and later spoke openly about her struggles to inspire others. Her journey proved that real strength comes from honesty and self-acceptance. In her later years, Diane Keaton continued to shine in Hollywood. From Something's Gotta Give to Book Club, she brought warmth and wit to every role, proving that age could never dull true talent. She also became a director, producer, and author, sharing her insights on life, art, and love. But behind her success, Diane remained a deeply private person. She preferred quiet evenings with her children and close friends, far from the noisy spotlight. Those who visited her home often noticed a small photo of Al Pacino placed among her favorite memories, a simple reminder of the man who had touched her soul. In interviews, she admitted that she never fully got over him, saying that some loves stay with you forever, even if they don't last. Her words resonated with millions because they spoke of something universal, the kind of love that changes who we are. Even in her final years, Diane never expressed bitterness. Instead, she embraced gratitude for her children, her work, and even for the love that had once broken her heart, but also made her who she was. In her last recorded reflections, Diane Keaton spoke softly about Al Pacino, describing him as the great love of her life. She said that while their paths had gone separate ways, he had left a permanent mark on her heart. Her words were filled with warmth, not regret. "He taught me about passion, and he taught me about patience," she said in one of her final interviews. Behind Diane Keaton's radiant smile and carefree laughter was a woman who often hid her pain with humor. Friends described her as a mystery with a funny hat. She had the gift of making others laugh while carrying the quiet sorrow of unfulfilled love. In many interviews, she admitted she struggled with loneliness. Despite being one of the most beloved actresses in Hollywood, she never married. Diane once said, "I'm attracted to men who are complicated, but I think I complicate things even more." Her openness about her fears, her awkwardness, and her imperfections made her incredibly relatable. She wasn't the typical Hollywood diva. She was honest, self-deprecating, and deeply human. She had a strange mix of confidence and insecurity. On set, she was brave, unafraid to try something new or to look foolish. Off camera, she doubted herself often. Diane loved fashion, but preferred to wear men's suits because she said they made her feel safe. That became her signature look, a blend of femininity and strength. People admired her for her authenticity. She never tried to be anyone else. Even in her later years, when most stars pursued youth, she embraced her wrinkles and gray hair proudly, saying, "Aging is the price we pay for living." That honesty made her a symbol of timeless grace, someone who taught the world that beauty and confidence come from within. Al Pacino and Diane Keaton's love was not the kind that ended with a breakup. It stayed alive in the spaces between words, in glances across crowded rooms, and in memories that refused to fade. Diane once revealed that even years after their separation, she couldn't fully forget him. When asked about Al in interviews, her voice would soften, her eyes sparkle with emotion. She said, "There was something about Al that just never left me. Maybe it's because I never wanted it to." Their relationship wasn't perfect. It was full of fights, passion, and distance. Al was a man dedicated to his craft, often lost in his work. Diane wanted connection and consistency. Yet despite their differences, they understood each other in ways few people ever could. They had seen each other at their best and worst, during moments of triumph and heartbreak. Diane often said that she didn't regret their love, even if it didn't last. You don't forget people like that. You just learn to live with the memory. It was clear that Al held a special place in her heart forever. Even when she spoke about her later life, adopting children, or focusing on directing, there was always a trace of that love lingering in her words. For fans, their story was one of those rare Hollywood romances that never truly died. It simply transformed into something more spiritual, more eternal. They might not have shared a home, but they shared a history that outlived time. As Diane grew older, she found new purpose beyond love and fame. She became a single mother, adopting 2 children, Dexter and Duke. She once said that motherhood gave her the stability she never found in romance. Raising her children made her braver and more grounded. Instead of chasing relationships, she poured her energy into her family, her art, and her memories. Diane was also a passionate photographer and writer. She filled her journals with thoughts about aging, loneliness, and creativity. She published books where she revealed the private side of her life, the struggles behind the glamorous image. In one of her memoirs, she wrote, "The truth is, I never stopped being that insecure girl from high school. I just learned how to turn my fears into stories." That vulnerability turned her into more than a movie star. She became a storyteller of the human experience. Her love for old architecture was another passion. She spent years restoring old houses, finding beauty in what others had abandoned. She said it reminded her that broken things can be made beautiful again, a metaphor for her own life. For Diane, healing wasn't about forgetting the past, but about building something meaningful out of it. Over the years, fans often hoped for a reunion between Diane and Al Pacino, on screen or off. Their chemistry in the Godfather films remained unforgettable. Directors and fans wanted to see them together again, even just for one more scene. But life had other plans. While they stayed friendly, their paths drifted apart. Al continued his acting journey, taking on intense roles that demanded emotional isolation. Diane, meanwhile, found peace in quiet projects, away from the Hollywood spotlight. Yet the connection between them never disappeared. In interviews, Al Pacino once said, "Diane was the one person who understood me completely." When asked if he regretted not marrying her, he paused and said softly, "Maybe I should have." Those words touched millions of hearts, including Diane's. When she was later asked about his statement, she smiled through tears and replied, "We were too young, too scared, too much ourselves. But I loved him. I really did." These rare confessions reminded the world that their bond was not a Hollywood fantasy, but a real story of 2 imperfect souls who couldn't quite make forever happen. Their love, though incomplete, was pure. The kind that never truly ends, just changes shape over time. In her later years,